Hello. I'm Bretton, one of our MCAT tutors here at Inspira Advantage, where we help students get into medical school and other professional programs. And welcome back to another episode of MCAT Bites. Today we'll be diving into the Schachter-Singer Theory, which is a significant concept in understanding emotions and getting a lot of questions right on the Psych-Soc question. This episode will finish out our theory of emotions sections for Psych-Soc on the MCAT. The Schachter-Singer Theory, also known as the two-factor theory of emotion, was developed by Stanley Schachter and Jerome E. Singer in the early 1960s, but it still remains very important to this day and in a few months when you take your exam. So let's break it down together, starting with what is the Schachter-Singer theory. The Schachter-Singer theory proposes that emotions are composed of two principal factors: physiological arousal and cognitive labeling. According to this theory, an emotional experience requires both a physiological response and a cognitive interpretation of that response. Essentially, it suggests that how we experience emotions depend on our interpretation of physical changes in our body. Let's start with physiological arousal here. This refers to the physical reactions our bodies undergo in response to a stimuli. For example, when you encounter a stressful situation, your heart rate might increase, your palms might sweat, you might start breathing more rapidly, you might have mom's spaghetti on your sweater already. These are all examples of physiological arousal. Next, we have the cognitive labeling step. This involves interpreting and assigning meaning to our physiological arousal. The same physiological response can be labeled differently depending on the context. For example, if you're about to give a public speech, you might label your racing heart and sweaty palms as anxiety. But if you're on a thrilling roller coaster, you might label those same physiological reactions as excitement. So literally, cognitive labeling is using your brain, cognition, to label the physiological feeling. To illustrate their theory, Schachter and Singer conducted an experiment in 1962. They injected participants with adrenaline, a substance known to cause physiological arousal, by activating the sympathetic nervous system. Participants were then placed in different situations designed to elicit either euphoria or anger. Interestingly, the participants' emotional responses varied based on the context they were in, demonstrating the importance of cognitive labeling in experiencing emotions. This was good evidence for the time that this theory held water. So what are some practical implications of this theory? Well, first and foremost, it has significantly enhanced our understanding of emotions. It suggests that our emotional experiences are not just autonomic or automatic responses to stimuli, but involve an element of interpretation as well. This can explain why people can have different emotional reactions to the same situation and why sometimes we might misinterpret our own emotions. Let's go through an example to solidify this concept. Imagine you're walking in a forest and you hear a rustling sound behind you. Your heart starts to race and you begin to sweat. According to the Schachter-Singer theory, how you label this physiological arousal will determine your emotion. And if you think there's a dangerous animal behind you, you might feel fear. But if you remember that your friend said they would meet you here, well, then you might feel excitement instead. Let's do a final example. Suppose you are taking a challenging exam. You feel your heart pounding and your hands trembling. If you interpret these signs as a normal response to the pressure of doing well, you might feel determined and focused. However, if you interpret them as signs that you're unprepared, you might feel anxious and stressed instead. Thus the importance of the cognitive labeling step. To finish off our video today, I want to recap that the Schachter-Singer theory is providing a comprehensive framework for understanding how we experience emotions. It emphasizes both the roles of physiological arousal and cognitive labeling, highlighting that our emotions are not just about what we feel physically, but also about how we interpret those feelings. This theory is a key concept for the MCAT, specifically on the Psych-Soc section, but I've even seen questions on biochem related to it, specifically referencing the same Schachter-Singer experiment we just went over. So this is a very important concept to feel comfortable with. Thank you so much for watching this episode of MCAT Bites. I hope this explanation of the Schachter-Singer theory helps you in your MCAT prep. Stay tuned for more episodes where we break down essential concepts to help you succeed. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover. Good luck with your studies.